I was cleaning out our home office when I found a folder tucked behind old tax documents with my husband's name on it. Inside was a job application from 10 years ago, except it wasn't for a regular job. It was an application to my parents' family improvement program, complete with a detailed contract, payment schedule, and explicit instructions. Befriend their daughter, make her feel valued, eventually pursue a romantic relationship, and help her become more confident and socially successful. My parents had literally hired my husband to date me because they thought I'd never find someone on my own. The contract was thorough, professional, and devastating. It outlined Marcus's responsibilities, his monthly compensation starting at $2,000, performance bonuses for relationship milestones, and a substantial final payment if the relationship led to marriage. There were quarterly review meetings scheduled with my parents, progress reports Marcus had to submit, and specific goals he was supposed to help me achieve. My entire relationship, from our first conversation to our wedding day, had been a paid job for my husband, orchestrated by parents who saw me as a project that needed professional help. Let me take you back to when I still believed I'd found love naturally, and my parents were just supportive. I met Marcus when I was 25. I'd always struggled socially. Awkward, shy, not particularly pretty or outgoing. I had a good job as an accountant, but my personal life was basically non-existent. I'd been on a handful of dates that never went anywhere, spent most weekends alone, and had accepted that I might never have the relationship my parents seemed so desperate for me to find. My parents worried about me constantly. Mom would make comments about me being too picky or not putting myself out there enough. Dad would suggest I try online dating, join social groups, do something to meet people. They meant well, I thought, but their concern always made me feel like a failure. Like I was defective for not having figured out relationships by my mid-20s. Then I met Marcus at a work conference. He was charming, successful, exactly the kind of guy who normally wouldn't give me a second glance. But he approached me during a networking session, started a conversation, seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say. We talked for hours that first day, exchanged numbers, and he actually followed up. Within a week, we were texting constantly. Within a month, we were dating. I couldn't believe my luck. Marcus was everything I'd never dared to hope for. Confident, socially skilled, attractive. He made me feel interesting and valued. He encouraged me to try new things, pushed me out of my comfort zone in gentle ways, helped me develop confidence I'd never had. With him, I felt like I was finally becoming the person I'd always wanted to be. My parents loved him immediately. They welcomed him into family dinners, asked about his career, treated him like he was already part of the family. I remember thinking how lucky I was that my boyfriend and my parents got along so well. I'd heard horror stories about in-law drama, but Marcus and my parents seemed to genuinely enjoy each other's company. Looking back now, I can see why. They'd been working together all along. The job application I found was dated 3 months before I met Marcus. It detailed his qualifications: degree in psychology, experience in interpersonal coaching, strong communication skills. There was a section where my parents had outlined their concerns about me: socially anxious, low self-esteem, limited dating experience, risk of remaining single indefinitely. They described what they wanted Marcus to accomplish: build my confidence, expand my social circle, help me develop better interpersonal skills, and ultimately, provide me with a stable romantic relationship. Marcus's cover letter was even worse. He wrote about his experience helping challenging cases develop social skills, his success rate with previous clients, his understanding of the delicate nature of the work. He described his approach: building trust slowly, providing consistent positive reinforcement, creating situations for natural confidence growth. He talked about the project like I was a business problem to solve, not a person to love. The contract they all signed specified that Marcus would receive base compensation for maintaining regular contact with me, bonuses for achieving relationship milestones, first date, exclusivity, meeting extended family, moving in together, and a final payment of $50,000 if I agreed to marry him. There were clauses about confidentiality, performance reviews, and termination conditions if Marcus failed to achieve results, or if I discovered the arrangement. Over 10 years, my parents had paid Marcus over $300,000 to be my boyfriend and then my husband. Every date, every I love you, every supportive moment had been compensated. He'd been filing quarterly reports with my parents throughout our relationship, documenting my progress, discussing strategies for helping me improve, treating our marriage like a long-term employment contract. I found the reports too. Detailed accounts of our relationship written in clinical detached language. Subject showed increased confidence in social situations this quarter. Subject successfully attended work party without significant anxiety. Subject has developed better grooming habits and wardrobe choices. He'd been documenting my life like I was a case study, sharing intimate details of our relationship with my parents, discussing me like I was a project they were all working on together. The reports included things I'd told Marcus in confidence, vulnerable moments I'd shared thinking I was talking to my husband, conversations about my insecurities, my fears, my struggles, all documented and reported to my parents with Marcus's professional assessment of how to address each issue. Nothing in our relationship had been private. Nothing had been real. There were even photos in the file, pictures of Marcus and my parents meeting without me, reviewing progress reports over coffee, celebrating milestones in my home improvement. A photo from right after our engagement showed Marcus shaking my father's hand while my mother held a check. They were all smiling, congratulating each other on a job well done. When I confronted Marcus, I threw the contract on the table between us and asked him one question. Have you ever actually loved me? Or has this entire marriage been a job? He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, It started as a job. Your parents approached me through a mutual friend who knew I'd done relationship coaching before. They were worried about you, desperate to help you, and they offered enough money that I couldn't refuse. I thought it would be a few months of helping you build confidence. Then I'd move on. But? I asked. Though I already knew there had to be a but. We'd been together for 10 years. But somewhere along the way, it became real for me, Marcus said. I stopped filing the reports years ago. I told your parents 3 years ago that I didn't want their money anymore, that I was staying because I wanted to, not because I was being paid. 3 years ago, I said slowly. So for the first 7 years of our relationship, you were actively being paid to love me? He nodded. But Emma, the last 3 years have been genuine. I fell in love with you. Somewhere in all the coaching and the strategies and the performance reviews, you became the most important person in my life. I stayed because I wanted to, not because your parents were paying me. I didn't know whether to believe him. How could I? Everything I thought I knew about our relationship was built on lies and financial transactions. Even if he did eventually develop real feelings, the foundation of our marriage was a business arrangement where I was the project and he was the paid contractor. I confronted my parents the next day, and they didn't even seem ashamed. Mom said they'd been trying to help me, that they couldn't bear watching me struggle socially, that hiring Marcus had been an act of love. Dad said I should be grateful. Look how much I'd grown, how confident I'd become, how happy I'd been in my marriage. They'd given me the relationship I never could have found on my own, and I should thank them instead of being angry. You paid someone to pretend to love me, I said. You hired a husband for me like he was a personal trainer or life coach. You treated me like I was so fundamentally broken that I needed professional help to be lovable. Mom started crying. You were so lonely. We just wanted you to be happy. We just wanted you to have what other people have naturally. That was the part that destroyed me. My own parents believed I was so defective that love had to be purchased for me. They'd watched me struggle and decided the solution wasn't support or encouragement. It was hiring someone to do the job of loving me because they didn't think anyone would do it willingly. The divorce was finalized 4 months ago. Marcus tried to convince me that his feelings had become real, that the last 3 years of our marriage had been genuine, even if the beginning was fake. Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe he did eventually fall in love with me. But I'll never know for certain, and I can't build a life on maybe. Like, share, and follow for more family secrets.